But first today, it's Juneteenth, a national holiday that celebrates the freedom of enslaved African Americans in the U.S. On this day in 1865, the last group of enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, finally received the news of the Emancipation Proclamation. Joining us now to talk about the significance of today and an event being held to celebrate the day is Jonathan Jones. He's the manager of youth and family programs at the Charles H. Wright Museum. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And we have the same last name. We're both bald.
We are.
And we both have beards.
This is true.
Yours is a little more developed, and we both decided to rock vests today.
I didn't know you were going to be my brother, but
exactly.
I'm happy for it.
Okay, I was excited to see you. It's always nice to see another bald-head guy shining on a Thursday.
It's the best day ever.
Now let's talk about what's going on at the Charles H. Wright Museum for Juneteenth.
Oh, man, we're so excited. So today we have festivities, activities, celebrations all day long. We're going to kick that off starting at 10 o'clock with some silent yoga. There's a group in the city called City Hop. They do a city glow. They do silent yoga on Mondays and Wednesdays in like Beacon Park and Campus Marshes. And today they're going to be doing that right there on our rotunda. And it's going to be led by an amazing yoga instructor named Juliana. That's going to be phenomenal. It's a free event. It's open to the first 150 people that come and sign up. We also have some film screenings happening and a panel discussion from a group of people from the Clotilda, and they're going to actually be discussing what that enslavement process looked like for people that weren't actually taken from the continent of Africa, but were still forced into that transatlantic slave trade. And so that's going to be a very powerful discussion that's going to be moderated by the city's historian, Jamon Jordan. And then we're going to be having a concert at the end with a locally based band called Gin and Juice, who are just phenomenal. And then throughout the day, we still have activities going. We have the exhibits that are open. We have food trucks that'll be outside. There'll be a gaming truck outside. There are going to be some African dancing happening right there on the rotunda. We are super excited about celebrating this community with the entire city of Detroit and anybody else that wants to come.
How long has the Wright Museum put together programming for Juneteenth?
So we have been celebrating Juneteenth since our inception. We just started scaling it up as it became a national holiday. So every year we have done something to make sure that we are honoring that Independence Day. Though Juneteenth celebrates specifically the Galveston Texans finding out about the Emancipation Proclamation, it is a beacon for all people that have ever had that suffrage and getting the opportunity to really celebrate what it means to be a full-fledged American, a full-fledged free individual in this country. And so we have been giving those history lessons. We have been giving those celebrations. We've been doing the cakewalks. We've been celebrating with the city since the museum has been around since 1965.
And it's been a federal holiday for 5 years now. Have you noticed more people are interested in learning about what Juneteenth is and why it's important to celebrate?
100%. I think it was just not on people's radar before. But now that it has become a federal holiday, now that people are recognizing it on a national scale, people want to know what that means. Like, what was the Emancipation Proclamation versus what was the 13th Amendment? When did the Emancipation Proclamation get passed? What is 1863 versus 1865? How does that impact where I am? How does that impact my lineage? How does that impact my neighbors? And how does that connect me to my history and my culture? And so it's been fascinating to watch intergenerational audiences come to a conclusion together and grow.
Let's talk about the political climate now. There are a lot of attacks on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of discussions about what should be taught, how Black history should be presented. Does that change at all the work that you do at the Wright Museum?
It actually doesn't. And the reason why is because one of the key focuses that we have at the Wright Museum is making sure that it's understood that this is a commonly shared history. Yes, our museum is called the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, but African American history is a part of the entirety of history. And so what we have always strived to make sure people understand is that this is everyone's history. It's yours, it's mine, it's Johnny's, it's Aiden's, it's Ainsley's, it's Sue Young's, it's everybody's history. And so we need to make sure that everybody is understanding of that concept. And so with our exhibitions, with our programming, with our educational outreaches, with our marketing. We want to make sure that people understand that this is collective and that it is conjoining for everyone.
You have a couple of events today focused on knowing the history of our area as well as knowing your own history. I want to first talk about knowing your own history and genealogy. How important is it for people to know their lineage?
It is essential. One of the things that people that are of African descent in this country have always struggled with is knowing who we are. One of the reasons that I think the book Roots, the movie Roots, hit so hard when they came out is because it was someone literally pinpointing, this is how far back I can actually go. And that has been so suspect for a lot of people in this country for so long. So anytime that you can get that connection, anytime you can find a way to trace back and actually understand, like, why does my nose look this way? Why do my ears hang the way they do? Why do I walk a certain way? And you can be like, oh, I got that from my grandfather. I got that from my great-grandmother. Oh, that revelation really speaks to the core of who you are, because knowing that past helps you to define where I got, and where I got helps me to define where I'm going.
About 10 years ago, I started actively researching my history, and I was able to trace back to the early 1800s and learn some things about my relatives, that one of them fought in the Civil War, and with the, I believe the U.S. colored troops, if I think I have that right, and that is very important. And I didn't know his name was on a memorial in D.C., and that really changes your perspective, and it really makes you realize the sacrifices those people who've come before you made so you can live a life of your dreams.
Exactly. I mean, when you find these moments, those sparks that are like, oh, that's a part of me. That's a part of who I am. When I started working at the Wright Museum, I've been around that institution my whole life. I went to elementary school right around the corner. Dr. Wright actually came by my elementary school when they started building the building that exists now, and was like, when it's open, y'all, make sure y'all come and get these memberships. And I was like, yeah, great, who cares? I was a kid. I started working there, and I find out from my aunt, 3 years after I'm working there, the man that designed the masks that are above the doors of our institution is my cousin.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
That's amazing.
I'm telling everybody about this, but I don't know about this. It made a difference. And so that impact for anybody makes a difference.
And before we wrap up, I just want to mention, you all want to stress that this is for everyone, these events. It's not just for African Americans. You want everyone to celebrate this history because it's a vital part of American history.
100%. It is for everyone. It is for you, it's for me, it's for him, it's for her, it's for every last individual that understands what it means to be a human being. And that is what is key for understanding and growing as a community. And so, yes, everybody come out.
All right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, and thank you for the bald hair care tips before we came on. I'm gonna invest. You said bevel.
Bevel, man.
Okay. Because us bald guys, we gotta get our shine
together.
on.
We gotta do it.
Not shine too much. I have to pat down the head because.
Well, you on TV.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you, cuz.
Thank you, cousin.
All right.